Hi guys, I just wanted to put up a small video actually on how I make my compost, and I just want to say that this is entirely how I do it and how it works for me. So let me show you quickly how to go about this, and I will also later on take you out to my place where I have made some compost, and you can actually see the result. Now this here is not compost, but it's some spent soil or soil that has been already used, and I do use this in the compost as well, in making the compost. Then here you see I have a box full of greens, veg waste, fruit waste, some paper towels and onion peels, also tea leaves that have been used. There is also potato peels in this, and green pea pods or shells, whatever you call it. Here I have some eggshells which I dry up after washing and grind into a powder, because you may know it's difficult, or it takes a lot of time for the eggshells to break down. So this powder I feel and it's also much easier to break down in the compost. And I have some, okay, this is the grow bag that I'm going to be making the compost in, because I don't have a composting unit or a system as such. And here are some browns, that is leaves. Now, as you all know, to make compost we require air, moisture, some heat, and of course your greens and browns. Now there is a lot of information over the internet about what proportions you put greens to browns and all of that, and what categories would classify as browns and greens. So you can have a look at all that up on the internet, but I'll show you how I go about doing mine, and I've had a very good success rate of making compost for myself, and I'll show you later on how it looks like. So let's get started. Now this here is a grow bag. It's some kind of environment friendly plastic, and I had got these bags last year when I had gone home for my vacations in India. And over the summer, when lockdown happened, I kind of got my hands on making compost. So since I didn't have a setup, as I mentioned earlier, I started using these bags because they were just lying there with no much plants. So I thought I'd take a chance and make some compost. Now to start with, what I do is I layer down the bottom with some soil. Sorry for that, I'm trying to do it in one hand here. I layer down the grow bag with soil, the used soil, as I told you. Maybe I'll just topple in like this. And I spread it around. I'm doing this in my kitchen. I usually do it outside, but you know that if you don't know, we are in the UAE and it's quite hot at the moment, so it's really difficult to be outside doing anything. So here I have the first layer of soil put out. Okay, just lay it evenly. Now I'm going to add in a few leaves. Now these are a little wet because I had them sitting over some plastic, under some plastic, and moisture of that plastic made these leaves wet, but that's not a problem. I'm going to be putting a layer of these leaves at the base of the bag. These were collected and given to me by a friend actually. So if I have leaves, I use them, or else I don't do it with leaves at all. There are some of my compost containers where I have not used leaves at all, so it's not necessary. Okay, so here we have the layer of leaves. Now I'm going to add this layer of greens. Now if you notice, you will see these are veggie scraps. Here I have watermelon rind, which I meticulously cut into small pieces because this is a very small setup for a compost, and obviously if I keep the watermelon rind as it is, it's not going to break down that easily, and it's not feasible for me because then I would be losing out on space on my container. So I really can't manage putting in big pieces of vegetable scraps or fruit scraps. You also see here some tissue paper that's been used, and there is also some basically vegetable scraps and fruit scraps. Over this I would again add another layer of leaves if I had them. I'm doing so because I have these leaves here, so they go in the leaves. Now I will add in some eggshell powder. Now eggshell powder would classify as a brown, I am told, sorry, green, and so I'll put in a little bit so that it adds the calcium component to the directly to the compost, and I don't have to, maybe not have to put it later in the soil. Now I will add in another layer of soil. This layer I am just making it very light, and I will put in the next lot of veggie scraps that I have here. Now this looks a little nasty because I had no space to keep it out in the fridge, and what I usually do is collect my scraps in the fridge in a dedicated container. So this is the second round. I'm going to spread it a little. Now I don't feel icky to put my hand in this because I know this is collected by me and I know what exactly is gone in this. Again, I'm topping it up with a layer of soil. Spread it out nicely. And then I will put these remaining leaves. If they were a little drier, I would have crushed them, but these are not so dry, so I'll probably put them in like this. Okay, this now is my last and final layer of soil that I'm adding to this, and I'm going to press it down. As you can see, it's going down a lot, and yeah, so this is it. This is how I make my compost, and it has worked for me. Now you may have seen I haven't added banana peels. I just feel they take a long time to break down, so I don't add them to this. But what I do is I would dry them, uh, chop them up maybe if I have the time, and grind them into a powder which I would be adding to the soil later on, or maybe even to compost. But I won't be doing that now. So yes, here it is how I make my compost. I would like to take you out now and show you some of the bags that I have going on outside at the moment in my balcony with the compost. So stay with me and let's just go out and have a look. Now if you can see here, this is my balcony. Sorry about the sound, but these are 4 such grow bags that I have here, and I have been making this compost here as well. Now I had just watered this yesterday, and if I give it a mix, you can see that it's quite wet, although it seems to be dry on the top, but it's quite wet, so I'm not going to water this one. But you can see things are breaking down very well. Okay, yeah, there are leaves and fruit, vegetable scraps, whatever, it's all down here, and it has all broken down very nicely in the heat that we are facing right now. Same with this bag. This one you can see is a little wet, more wet, and the same procedure followed as I showed you. And I'm going to be leaving this here till maybe the end of September, until I start potting up my plants. So here are 2 more, followed the same process that I showed you. Now I'll show you some pots that I use as well. Like you see here, this is a regular pot, a small pot. This is a yogurt container, another pot. Sometimes what I usually do is, if I have no space around, I follow the same procedure of layering. I layer the vegetable scraps, soil, and leave this for about 15 to 20 days or 2 weeks maybe, and add some more soil and plant directly in it. Works that way as well. And this kind of setup especially will work well for leafy plants because of all the extra nitrogen. And here you have it, guys. This is a tub full of compost that I have made over the summer months. Here it's rich, it looks rich, it is rich, and some of the contents of this are still breaking down. Like you can see, there are some leaves here, and you can see the color. I usually keep this covered because I don't want it to dry out. I put over a I just put over a garbage bag to get it covered, and here it is. So this is 1 tub full of compost that I have made from all of my kitchen scraps, and I'm really glad to say that I'm not letting my waste go into the landfill, but instead using it to make something that is nutritious for my garden. There is another bag here, a 50-liter bag of compost that I have made from my own kitchen waste. So guys, it's not rocket science. I just would say give it a try. And mind you, I'm in a balcony. I don't have a garden or anything. I just do my stuff in the balcony. So it's possible to compost even in a balcony. I hope you guys like this video and will give it a try.